Developers often treat date as if it's the same thing they see on their screen, but it's not. In Swift, date represents a single point of universal time, the number of seconds since January 1st, 2001 at midnight UTC. Let's take a look at what date looks like when we print it. You can see here we have the current date and the number and then this plus with 4 zeros. That plus 4 zeros means that the timestamp is in UTC. Coordinated Universal Time. It's not tied to your clock, region, or even daylight savings. It's absolute. Only when we format it for display do we apply time zones and localization. Let's go ahead and use DateFormatter. This is a class that turns raw date into a readable string. And the cool part is it actually automatically respects the user's region and time zone. So let's create a standard date formatter. I'm going to call this one formatter so it's easy to reference, and we're going to use the date formatter with the empty brackets. From here, we can format any date we'd like. To change the way our formatter works, we can reference whatever we called it, in this case the formatter, and then we can do the dot. From here, let's change the date style. We can do date style. We have this equal a property, so we can do dot long. This will show the full readable date format, so like October 28th, 2025. We can also have the formatter display the time with the time style, and we can have this equal, let's do dot short. You can play around with these different values. When you're coding in Xcode, it'll often give you the built-in values like long, medium, short, etc. For short, this is the most compact style of time. So this would be like 5:42 p.m. or whatever time it actually is. We can also apply a localization. So let's do the formatter.locale. And we can choose which locale we want with the capital L locale. And then within the brackets, we can have an identifier. Then we can add a colon and choose which one we want. I'm going to do the French, which is within the quotation marks lowercase fr underscore capital FR. Then we can have our result. This result's going to equal the formatter, and we want the string value. And we're going to be grabbing it from when, well, let's do the current date and time with our capital D date and empty parameters. Then we can print that result. You can see once our playground refreshes, we have 28th October. I don't know too much French, but it's now been formatted. Since I don't know too much French, let's go ahead and comment that out so it'll be in English for me. Perfect, there we go. I mean, I know a decent amount of French, but not off the top of my head like that. So this is a date formatter where it makes it so much more readable. Like, tell me, what's more readable? The October 28th, 2025 at 12:51 p.m. or this mumbo jumbo with these random numbers? There's a few different ways that you can format. This is the basic way. And before we go on to the calendar, there's something that's a little bit infamous, which is the TimeZone bug. And this is where most developers actually trip up. Whenever you save a date to disk, reload it later, it shows it being off by several hours. This is known as the TimeZone bug. We can actually replicate this really quickly. If we go to our system settings, and we go to date and time, currently I have my time zone as Toronto, but what if I change this to, let's say, Tokyo, Japan? Now when we refresh our playground with Command Option P, we can see it's October 29th, 2025 at 1:53 a.m. So because we've changed our time zone, it's treating the time as something that's completely different. So for comparing values from me in Canada to someone all the way in Tokyo, there might be some discrepancies. This bug happens because the date itself is UTC, which is correct, but the date formatter applies your local time zone upon display. We can fix this, however, by in our date formatter, we can use the time zone overwrite. So we can use our formatter once again, dot time zone this time. We can have it equal a capital T time zone, and we can have our seconds from GMT, and we're going to have this be 0. So this is going to set the formatter's time zone to GMT, which is a 0-hour offset. Now we have a different time. It's saying it's 4:54. If I go back into our system settings and we change it back to Toronto, and we run it again, so Command Option P, we'll get the exact same time. So no matter what the time zone is here, it's always going to be treating it as the same version because it's setting it to a static time zone ahead of time. This should help you with that infamous time zone bug. So store dates in UTC, display them in local time. So the way I would use this is whenever you're storing dates, use the time zone. If you want to display them, use local time, and you'll never see that offset or any weird oddities ever again. Okay, now that we've talked about formatting, let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit to doing some math with calendar. So to manipulate any dates like adding days or checking what week it is, we can use calendar. So let's establish a calendar. We're going to have it equal the capital C calendar dot current. This will get the user's current calendar, whether it's Gregorian or whatever it might be. Then we'll create a date instance representing right now. So let's call this one today and have it equal the date, the current point in time. Next, I want to add one to today to get tomorrow. So we can establish tomorrow, and we'll have it equal the calendar dot date. And then in the brackets, we can do the by adding. And here's how we can choose to add a value. In this case, I'm going to be adding a dot day. So I want to add 1 day value. So I'm going to be adding values based on the day. How big or small that value is, we can add a comma and include the value. In this case, I'm going to put 1 for 1 day, which makes sense. Tomorrow is a day after today. We'll then add a comma to today. So we're adding it to that specific value, and we're going to force unwrap it at the very end. Essentially, to break this down, the dot day is the calendar component we're modifying. Value 1 means add 1 day, and this exclamation point at the very end force unwraps the optional date to be returned. Then let's extract the current hour, 0 from 23, from today's date. So let hour equal the calendar dot component. Within the brackets, we'll be looking at the hour from, well, that would be today. Again, we've already established that above. Then, since now we have all this data, let's create a relative date formatter. We can display phrases like in 1 day, 2 hours ago, etc. So let's call this one relative. It'll equal the relative date time formatter with the empty brackets. Then let's go ahead and print this to our users. In a real app, you would use the data accordingly. Since we're just playing around with things today, we'll be printing. So we'll look at that relative we just created, and then we'll have our localized string. You'll notice that we're going to be repeating some concepts from before. This is going to be for tomorrow, comma, relative to today. Okay, let's go ahead and run our playground, and we can see in 1 day. So that makes sense. Tomorrow from this very current point in time is in 1 day. If we were to change this value to maybe be hour and we were to change this to be 2, what would happen? In 2 hours. So it's a lot more readable for the users. So just to do a quick recap, date is that universal timestamp. That date formatter we created before is for display. We also have the relative date formatter for display as well. Calendar is going to be for your math, and whenever you need context, you're going to be using the time zone. Master these 4 and you'll never be surprised by your app showing tomorrow when it's still today. So hopefully this cleared up some craziness around Swift date. Dream big, code bigger, and we'll see you in the next one.